Let's have it.
Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Dennis Adigunloye. The Muslim faithful in the week concluded the 30-day Ramadan fast, and President Muhammadu Buhari led calls after the 2 rakat prayers for Nigerians to embrace peace and understanding, giving assurance that the president's administration remains committed to dealing decisively with the challenges facing the nation. On his part, Senate President Ahmed Lawan urged Nigerians to bury their differences and make genuine efforts at achieving stability and unity.
The president is reaching out to all the stakeholders, and I believe that as leaders, particularly those of us that are elected at all levels of government, we should avoid partisanship, we should avoid regionalism. We are all leaders and we are in this together. The solutions must come from us regardless of what level of government we are, whether at the federal level or at the state level or even at the local government level.
Truth be told, we all have equal shares in the blame in whatever challenges we have. We must all come together to make sure that we resolve whatever issues. It is that spirit of oneness and that spirit of togetherness and unity and love that will take us through this.
And earlier in the week, Senator representing Kebbi South Senatorial District, Bala Ibn Na'ala, pleaded for patience and understanding of Nigerians, as President Muhammadu Buhari is genuinely committed towards ensuring that a troubled Nigeria is not handed over to his successor in office. This was while speaking to journalists after an audience with the president on the state of the nation.
We have had a very, very frank discussion with the president, and I'm happy to tell Nigerians that there is a commitment, real commitment, to reverse most of the concerns established by Nigerians as far as this country is concerned. We will cooperate with the president and commander-in-chief on all issues regarding the administration of this great country. Our concern is that every responsible citizen of this country has a responsibility to key into this at this trying moment, because we all must have a country first before we begin to talk about our differences or whatever our concerns are that are private.
Senate President Ahmed Lawan has formally reacted to calls for the restructuring of Nigeria, describing it as counterproductive and inimical to national unity, stability and a sustainable future. Senator Lawan spoke to State House correspondents after observing the Eid el Fitri prayers with President Buhari at the presidential villa Abuja. The Senate President also called on Nigerians to support efforts at ensuring the desired autonomy for local governments in the country.
I believe that as leaders, those of us who are elected must not be at the forefront of calling for this kind of thing. Because even if you are a governor, you are supposed to be working hard in your state to ensure that this restructuring you are calling at the federal level, you have done it in your state as well. Because what you may accuse the federal government of whatever it is, you may also be accused of the same thing in your state. So we are supposed to ensure that we have a complete and total way of ensuring that our systems at the federal, at the states, and even local governments work for the people, that we allow people to participate in governance, that whoever feels that he has something to offer to make Nigeria better does so freely without any let or hindrance. We have diminished the local government system. I think we can attribute some of the security issues to the absence of local government system, functional local government system. For me, I think the time has come for us to take up the challenge, the gauntlet, to ensure that the local government system functions. This is in keeping with looking for ways, for means, for solutions to the security challenges that we face. We must never neglect the local government system. I believe that this is one system that had worked, even though in a different name, when it was Native Authority. It was very effective, very efficient. So we must go back to our local government system to ensure that the local governments continue to be autonomous, continue to be functional in order to complement whatever the states and the federal governments will be doing.
Here now are some other happenings concerning the Senate in the week, including a visit to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation by the Senate Committee on Federal Character and Intergovernmental Affairs.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, is a regular visitor to the National Assembly. But this time, he is the host. He received members of the Senate Committee on Federal Character and Intergovernmental Affairs who were on ground for oversight. The status of the 2018, 2019 and 2020 budget of the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation was the main reason for this visit.
Over the years, the committee has appropriated funds to the Office of the Secretary to Government of the Federation to ensure its proper functioning and services delivery.
Boss Mustafa explained that out of the 2.02 billion naira capital appropriation in 2018, only 782.9 million was released, while 12.2 billion of 2019 and 1.5 billion of 2020 were fully released.
You will notice that there has been an increase from 2 point something to 12 point something. If you look at the performance, capital performance of 2019, you realize that it was in 2019, earlier before 2019, I think 2018, that the National Assembly, your National Assembly passed the bill establishing the Northeast Development Commission. And initially they were in the presidency. So you will see that the 10 billion naira there was meant for the Northeast Development Commission.
The parliamentary committee advised that a formal request should be made by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation for the construction of an office that will accommodate all special aids of Mr. President.
The interactive meeting between the committee and key actors in the financial sector was to discuss the preliminary findings during its investigative hearing with revenue-generating ministries, agencies and departments weeks ago.
Most disturbing issue we have found out is that even those that are 100% funded still go ahead and spend the revenue generated by them, and also collect budget from the budget.
In providing solutions to matters arising, relevant stakeholders promised to work with the committee, particularly now that the nation is struggling to boost its economy.
Hoping that we can work very closely with you to do further amendments to the Fiscal Responsibility Act. There has been a number of circulars that have gone out, and we note that agencies have interpreted the circulars in different ways. So it is actually better when amendments are made to the law.
So we made attachments to our submissions. In all this, there are criteria. There is a template that has to be followed, which we have circulated to all agencies.
The objective of the meeting is for revenue-generating MDAs to comply with the Fiscal Responsibility Act.
Now, the federal government recently gave approval for the 8.39 billion naira contract augmentation for the completion of a section of the Sokoto-Makera Road, which passes through Sokoto, Kebbi, and Niger states. The Senate also recently approved just over 257 billion naira for the Nigeria Customs Service in the 2021 fiscal year. Here now is an exclusive interview with the Chairman Senate Committee on Works and Senator representing Kebbi Central, Adamu Aliero, on these and other issues.
It is a major road that links the north and also the south. It traverses into Ogun State, Oyo State, Kwara State, Niger State, Kebbi State, Sokoto State, and even Zamfara State. So it is the major road link for the country, and it is meant to ferry heavy axial load from the seaport down to the north, since our railways are not working. Hopefully, before the end of this administration, with the effort Mr. President is making together with the Minister of Transportation, we will have a railway that will carry all heavy duty goods from the south to the north. That will somehow save the lifespan of our roads. No matter what you do, if you are carrying heavy loads on our roads, cement, for example, industrial chemicals, raw materials, fertilizers, these are even petroleum products, these are heavy things that are being carried on trailers, and they pass through these roads. And no matter the repair you make, the road go bad easily because of the heavy axial load. So the solution to this is to have railway. Federal government augmented the sum provided in the contract because the scope of work has increased, and also the length of the road also increases. So many concrete work need to be done that were not included in the original bill of quantity, what they call IBME, but now they have been added, and this is what's responsible for the augmentation of the contract. And let me tell you that when this road is completed, it will be very easy to move from Lagos to Sokoto. Right now, commuters take about 14 to 15 hours to reach Sokoto from Lagos because of the bad nature of the road. And I'm sure if this is done, it will reduce the time or the number of hours by more than 60%, because vehicle will move easily. No more potholes, no more gutters on the road, bridges have been repaired, no question of waiting for vehicle to pass. So it will ease the movement of goods and people from the north to the south.
Very, very good, and thanks for that explanation. Okay, also recently the Senate approved the sum of 257,183,601,000 for the Nigeria Customs Service.
Yeah.
Nigeria Customs Service, and also approved 1.68 trillion as target revenue for the agency.
Yeah.
A former highly placed individual in the Nigeria Customs Service, just give us your thoughts on this development as well.
Well, I think you're talking about the capital budget of the Customs Service. Okay. Nigeria Customs Service, the budget was presented to the National Assembly. It was approved last week. The Committee on Customs was the one that was charged with the responsibility of scrutinizing the budget on behalf of the Senate. They did a fine job and they brought it to us and we gave approval. And a number of things are going to be done in that budget. Barracks will be built, schools will be built for customs officers, accommodation will be provided at the border stations, vehicles will be purchased. They have their building near the Hilton Hotel, which has been ongoing for the last 7-8 years. This budget that was passed, the amount that will complete the head office is also included in that budget. Quite a number of capital projects have been approved by the National Assembly. So I'm sure the Customs Service will be very happy to have the buildings completed. They will be very happy to have the barracks built. They will be very happy to have senior officers being provided with accommodation. So I think this is why the Senate approved the budget. And don't forget that we want the Customs Service to pay more attention to revenue collection. And we want to make sure that we take care of their welfare. And we don't want them to continue conniving with importers to evade custom duty. We want to provide them with all the necessary facilities they require to perform their jobs. And this is why we approve that budget. We cannot negotiate with the bandits. We cannot reduce ourselves to, as a government, to negotiate with the bandits and meet their terms before they release, the students. If you do that, more or less, you are encouraging banditry, you are encouraging armed robbery, you are encouraging all sorts of insecurity activities in the country. And I share that view. And Nigerians should rise and fight, terrorism and also banditry. We should not negotiate with the bandits or terrorists, no matter what. The security forces are all out to ensure that we are protected. I know they are overstretched. I know they don't have enough equipment. They don't have enough, intelligence gathering. And all this is due to lack of funding. And the briefing we had yesterday in the Senate has made it very clear to us that we don't have a choice. We just have to increase the funds going into our armed forces and the police. If we don't do that, we won't get the service we require. We won't be able to secure this country. And security is a collective responsibility. Citizens have a role to play. Local governments have a role to play. State governments have a role to play. And federal government has also a role to play, since they control the instrument of coercion. They control the police, the army, the SSS. But everybody has a role to play in ensuring that Nigeria is secured, from individual level to the community level, to the local government level, the state level, and up to the national level. I think this is my take for that. Dangote has entered into agreement with federal government to rehabilitate roads that are in bad shape and roads that are critical to our economic development and survival. And the Apapa Oshodi Oronshoki Expressway is a very important road. Perhaps one of the most important roads in the country. And Dangote decided to do the rehabilitation of this road and get the understanding of the Federal Inland Revenue Service to take whatever he did in repairing the road and deduct it from what he's supposed to pay as tax. So we call it tax credit, projects. Instead of paying the tax, he constructs the road, and then the amount that he's supposed to pay for tax is now liquidated since the roads are now constructed. And equally, he's doing the same thing in the south-south, linking the LNG in Bonny and Bonny Island. He's also constructing that road, and we commend him for doing that because government doesn't have to look for funds to do the repairs or the rehabilitation. And we encourage also other multinationals or other big companies to emulate the worthy example of Dangote. He is helping the government, he is helping the people by making sure that the infrastructure are put to shape. And we commend him for doing that. We urge others to emulate this worthy example. There are other corporate bodies that are making billions of naira in Nigeria. These corporate bodies like MTN in the telecommunication sector, Globalcom, Airtel, Etisalat, you should emulate the worthy example of what Dangote is doing. Bua group of companies should also do the same. I understand that they too are getting ready to repair or to rehabilitate some roads in the country. Equally important, the oil companies that have made billions of dollars in Nigeria should also do the same. Shell, Chevron, Total, and Mobil, they are making a lot of money in Nigeria, and they are taking it out of the country without, reinvesting it here. We call on them to also participate in our infrastructural development. Instead of paying the tax, let them start, rehabilitating our roads, and then they don't pay the tax. Instead of using the money to pay FIS, they use the money to reconstruct or rehabilitate our roads. This is the only way we can complete over 800 roads that we have the federal government is doing. Budgetary allocation alone is not enough. We have to look for ways of getting money to rehabilitate our roads. Quite a number of roads are in bad shape. If we rely on budgetary allocation, quite honestly, it will take 10 to 15 years before these roads can be in good shape. In fact, at one of the meetings we had with the Minister of Works and Housing, he made it clear to us that we need close to about 10 trillion naira to rehabilitate all the federal roads we have in the country. So the public sector alone cannot do it. We need the participation of the private sector. And these companies I mentioned are well placed. Lastly, the banks that are making huge sums of money every year, declaring billions of naira every year, should also participate in the rehabilitation and the reconstruction of our infrastructure. Whether it is roads you are talking about, power you are talking about, railway you are talking about. I think if we do this, it will go a long way in rehabilitating our roads.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, distinguished. Well, that concludes this edition of Senate 109. Many thanks for watching. Till next time, I'm Dennis Adigunloye. Bye for now.